Okay, welcome everyone to the database class. This is Business Database Systems, and this is the first day of the class. And what I'm going to do right now is go over the syllabus and what's going to be expected of you. So hopefully we will relieve some anxieties and perhaps maybe enlighten you on what you signed up for. This class will start at 9 o'clock a.m. sharply, and in the schedule, don't have the schedule in the syllabus, but in the schedule it will meet on Saturdays. And international students need to keep 70% attendance, which means we have 5 class meetings. Although our class is 8 hours long, you only have to be here 5 times the entire quarter. And of those 5 times, if you're here all 5 weekends, that's 100% of your attendance. If you miss 2 weekends, you're in 70%. So you could feel free to miss if you accidentally can't get a flight in, or you have a business meeting, or you have to fly or something. You may miss up to, but no more than 2 full class meetings. But use that with caution because you don't want to exceed that. Usually students at the beginning want to know, how often do I need to be here? I will be taking attendance every single weekend that we have class. And today I'm actually going to be nice. I'm not taking it at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to take it around noon, or right after lunch, actually. Which means some people might have shown up late because some people can't find the classroom. Some people are lost or clueless, don't know what class they're in. Maybe they're switching from one class to another. We don't know. But in essence, attendance will be taken. You are required to be here 5 of the 7 class meetings. You don't want to miss today because today is the beginning, and you don't want to miss the last class meeting, because during the last class meeting you'll have a final exam, and if you miss the final exam you're going to miss out on points and stuff. So that's a good one to go to. And if we look at the schedule, and then it's posted, and I can show it to you as well on the website, you'll know which Saturday. It's pretty much every other Saturday, actually, is how that works. Anyway, so I am Dr. Barbara Hecker, and my background is in computer science, and I actually have my doctorate in computer science. I'm the program chair for your computer science program here. I'm also the dean of faculty, and I'm also a faculty member, so I also teach. So wear many hats, which means if you do have a question about the program, and I have some students who have requested a more current version of the catalog so they know which classes are core and which are electives. And they send me email messages and they say, hey, can you let me know if I'm taking the right classes and stuff like that? You can feel free to do that. And if you want to send me an email, my contact information is right here. Actually, it's also in the Canvas class. I can let you know what you need to graduate, what are the rules, what classes you should take, stuff like that. I do student advising. So it's a little bit twofold. I can also advise you about the class and stuff like that. This class is Business Database Systems. And in the Business Database Systems class, it is a good entry into database systems. I am not assuming that anyone has a computer science background. In fact, for this class in particular, it's better if you don't. It's better if you have a business background, actually, because this is Business Database Systems, and it's concentrating on the design and the architectural layout of the database and the logic that's going into creating it versus the programming of it. So the tools that we'll be working with are a lot of drawing tools, graphing tools, in fact, I'll show you one right now, actually. I believe I do have it linked. I do. One of the ones that we'll be working with is this one here. It's ERD Plus, and as an example, if I were to create, let's say, a new entity relationship diagram, I would be doing things like this, like adding components like this, and then putting in relationships and drawing. It's dragging and clicking, so you don't worry about your artistic skills either. So what we're going to do today, starting today, is actually learn how to create entity relationship diagrams. Entity relationship diagrams model the database. It's a methodology used to design database systems from a business perspective. So we're going to take business needs, I have a dental office, And in my dental office, I keep track of patients, and I have treatments that they need, and I have this and I have that. And I want a database built to help me keep track of my customer data or my business. So what do? We design a database. So we'll be learning how to design the database, and then we're also going to learn how to implement it. But we'll be using another program, and let me load this one up here. It is actually a pretty cool program that is written to design to put web database and web programming skills at your fingertips. And the tools that we're going to be using for this, for the database implementation, are going to be, actually let's just do it this way. I don't want to start the servers actually. I can't start the servers right now on this computer while my recording stuff's going on. It's all GUI based. So there's no programming, which is why I call this class good for beginners. And let's see, are you sure you want to close this application? Yes. This is a good beginner class because there's really no hardcore programming per se. If you want programming, take the class tomorrow. That's the introduction to programming, Java programming object orientation. That's a really good class to get you up to speed on programming aspects. However, this particular class, designed for business people, designed for computer science people, and one of the big problems is that, you know, with computer science in general, you have left and right brain kind of thinking people. And computer science people are really bad designers in general. I mean, they can't think like business, like what does this company need and what it should look like, and they're very bad graphic designers in general. This is a stereotype. It's not to say that all computer science people don't have any artistic talent or any design talent. That's like one of the weaknesses. So this class is actually good for hardcore computer science people who don't have this talent, and then it's also good for people just getting into the field of computer science because it gives you something you can easily apply. You can take your existing skills in liberal arts and business and your your opposite brain thinking, and apply it towards computer science. So I don't know, it's really hard for me to explain that in terms of easing tension. What I'm trying to do is say this is not a technically difficult course. However, it is technically challenging when it comes to figuring out how to design something. And we'll see that today. So by the end of the day, you should have a very good feeling about what this class is about. You will learn a little bit of SQL as well. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It'll be used to access the data in the database, to write scripts, to actually do something with the database. And we'll be using PHP, which is a scripting language for the internet. You'll actually put together a database, and you'll put together an interface to it with a scripting language. And by the end of the class, you'll hopefully have more confidence in terms of your abilities to learn computer science topics, because you'll be doing a lot of things a lot of computer science people do on a daily basis, actually, in terms of creating interfaces to databases. So we'll be looking at the architecture of the database, the design of the tables in the system, focusing primarily on relational database concepts. And I'll get into that when I start the first lecture. And then we'll also look at running queries, interfacing our database with applications, with web applications and stuff, and then writing simple queries, simple interfaces to the database. By the time we get there, you'll have definitely a good grasp of what you're doing. And you might actually have an interest in taking the web development class after this one, because the web development class will build on your web skills. And 99.9% of all applications out there are web applications. And 99.9% of them, if not 100% of them, use a database. So in essence, you're going to run into this topic. You're going to run into this material over and over again. So that's why I say it's a really good starting class, because at least you know what the database is about, and how to design one, and what it should look like. And it's good if you get into software engineering, because in software engineering, as a systems architect or as a database architect, you're designing this, which means you're putting together the entity relationship diagrams, and you're going to create the system. What does this mean? If you, most people know how, well, actually most people don't know how houses are built, but if you want to build a house, the guy with the hammer and the nails and the wood is is not the guy that designs it. Usually, okay, in America, you want to build a house. You pick out a piece of land, and you say, oh, I want to build a house. So you get an architect. These guys, they go to school. They take like 4 years of college, and then they go architectural school. It's almost like being a doctor in this country. They have like 8 years of higher ed to learn how to do architectural design. Well, because you have safety and fire, and you have earthquake stuff. You have all these things you have to be concerned with. So you're going to design the structure to withstand an earthquake, to withstand all these other problems. And they don't touch a hammer or nails or anything. What they do is they sit there at a computer and a program, and they draw architectural diagrams, and then they give it to city planning or the government officials, and they sign off on it. They say, okay, this is good. This is a sound structure. We're good. And then they give this architectural diagram, this drawing, to a bunch of construction people, usually a general contractor. And then they build it. So in the real world of software engineering, I would rather have the job where you're sitting on the desk, at the desk building the architectural diagram of the database and stuff like that. And then you just give it to people, and they put it together for you. There's a lot of people who like just to put it together. Like you don't want to think about what you want. You just want someone to tell you what you want. And then if that's the case, then you can, just focus on your programming. Focus on, making, the best implementation. But it's kind of like focusing on carpentry skills versus design skills. And in software, the best people that do the design work have both. They can do the implementation, but they can also do the design. So you want both. Eventually, you want both skills. But usually, you're going to do one or the other. Personally, I would rather sit there at the computer and design it rather than having to sit there and do all of the day-to-day tedious, oh, it's broken, fix it. Oh, man. All the repair work on it and all the implementation work on it. But if you want to do the repair and the implementation, practice makes perfect on that. And we'll be doing some practice of that in the class. Mostly focusing on design, but we still have to look at the implementation. So we still have to see how it's implemented so you can understand how to design it. They both work together. If you've never seen a house constructed, it's hard to design one. So it's like you have to know both. Anyway, so that's what the class is about in terms of, and I've just gotten past the first page here of my syllabus. I'm going to scroll down a little bit further here. Learning outcomes, you can read through that on your own. I pretty much came through and kind of talked a little bit about what the learning objective is so far. Optional materials. This was a late add class. In fact, I didn't find out about this till I think yesterday or the day before. So I've taught this class before, obviously, so I have the materials already. However, I have found in the past, and I made this one this time around, I made it optional. I have found in the past the book is a little overkill. I say it's optional because if you like to read, this is not a bad book. However, it's a lot of technical information. If you really think that databases are your thing, and you're really going to take this to an extreme, and you want to go into a database, and you want to be a database architect or a DBA, you're probably going to end up going to Oracle certification eventually, or Cisco or something. You're going to get into networking and databases together probably as one, and you're going to want a different level of hands-on and a different level of technical ability. And that's the book. But the book has a lot of theory in it too, like relational algebra theory, math background. And if you're thinking about creating your own database, like writing your own database, then the book also makes sense too, per se. But for this class, you probably don't need the book, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't bother with the book. Instead, I'm going to give you plenty of stuff to do. In fact, today we're going to find out about 2 assignments that are going to be due in 2 weeks. One of the assignments has about 50 pages of reading. I know you're like, man. Business database systems? Or systems programming?
Yes.
Which one? The second?
Computer science.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Databases or systems?
Systems, weekend.
That way. Great, Sophia.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay. What do we got? So anyway, that's the story on the book. Sorry for that little interruption. It being the first day, we have a lot of people coming in. And I left the door open because they're all going to come here first. Grading policy. 30% of your grade is that final exam. The final exam will be given the last day of this class, which is week number 5. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If you miss anything, don't miss that one. That's 30% of your grade. The final, it's my way of telling what you actually learned. It won't be programming. There's no programming anyway in this class. It won't be difficult. You'll probably have to create an entity relationship diagram. You'll probably have to write some queries. You'll probably have to answer some multiple choice questions, stuff like that. It'll be full comprehensive covering the entire course. If you have test anxiety, don't worry about it. You can still do well in the class by failing the final. Worst thing that happens is probably end it with a B. So. We're going to do 70% of the class in the class time, and then you'll have some homework. We'll start the homework. So how it works is we have 7 assignments. And let me just go slip to the schedule here. The 7 assignments are spread out over the class. I took the dates out of here because, well, quite honestly, I didn't know I was teaching this class till a couple of days ago. And I still don't even know what dates. I know it starts today, and it's every other week, but I don't know what those dates are yet. I think one of the next classes, I'll find out before the end of the day, but I think it's like on the 25th or something like that. I don't know, 2 weeks from now or something. And then we have one on the 8th, I think. Anyway, bottom line, just go week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way up to week 5. Oops, this says 10 weeks on it. That's a typo. So don't worry about the 10 weeks. It's not 10 weeks in this class. There is 10 weeks in the quarter, but our class meets every other week. So we have 2 weeks and 2 weeks together, so we have 5. 10 divided by 2. There's your math for the class. It's not too much. So program number 1 and program number 2 will be due during the 2nd week. And I actually have that in the better syllabus I put together out here. So if you go to the Canvas class, and I know you guys are brand new students because you're in this class, which means you're a late add or you just enrolled somehow. It came into the system lane. All of the other classes were filled. You got into this one because we just opened it up. And if that's the case, then you may have or may not have accessed Canvas yet. Canvas is the learning management system for the class. This is not an online class, but this is where all of the materials are available to you online. If I go back out to the main Sofia website, let me just show you this real quick. Some of you I know missed, some of you were here for the orientation, but some of you may have missed it. There's a link up here on the top that says Canvas. There's another link that says Portal. These are the 2 links. This is going to send you into the student portal, which will give you all of the information you need for, I don't know, registration, paying fees, stuff like that. I don't know, student-related accounts. And this one that says Canvas will take you to, I'm actually logged in, so it's not going to take me. Let me log out, and I'll show you what this does. It takes you to the screen here. You need to make sure you have a Sofia email address. You know what it is. You got it with your registration. You may not have used it yet. And then you have a password that they're going to give you, and then you can probably reset your password, hopefully. But you're going to use your Sofia. Mine is barbara.hecker@sofia.edu. Yours will probably be your first initial. Like, if I were a student, mine would probably be b.hecker. I don't know what the naming convention is, but they're going to give you a Sofia email address. That's the one your faculty, your instructors are going to send you messages on. And that's the one you'll receive your Canvas instructions on, and that's how you're going to get into Canvas. So I'm going to log in. And when I log in, I have to select the class. And if I go up to courses, mine's populated with more stuff. You're just going to see the classes that you're enrolled in. If you're new to this one, you're not going to see this yet because it's not going to be. You're still in the other one, your systems class. So if you just, are you going to transfer over to this one, you're going to want to, you're probably going to want to wait a few days before you get in. If I come over here, I've got 2 sections because I have a summer and a spring. But if I click on here, then I get into the summer section. And in my summer section on the bottom, this is the same syllabus that I was showing you in a Word file, but this one is in a web interface on Canvas. I can see a better schedule. This one actually has the better schedule. So I see this is week 1. We're going to cover an overview of database systems and an introduction to database design, which is really entity relationship modeling. which we're going to continue. We're going to start it this weekend, and then we're going to pick it up in the next weekend. And then on 7/25, don't freak out yet. We're going to have 2 assignments due. So usually people go, oh, there's no textbook for this class. Oh, that's good. I don't have to do anything. Nah. Now, instead you have like 2 assignments you have to do. I would rather have you do hands-on stuff than read a book anyway. What are you going to get out of reading a book? Probably nothing, really. So instead you're going to do some diagrams for me, and you're going to put together some stuff. And then you're going to bring it to class with you, or you're going to email it, or you're going to submit it. Hopefully you'll submit it actually in Canvas. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. And if you submit it in Canvas, then I can give you a grade for it in Canvas. And you're going to create, these are going to be not Word files, they're probably going to be image files. And I'll show you how to do that. And you go to a web browser and it's free. All the software for this class is free. Everything is pretty much cost free because it's all open source. And it's tools you'll probably end up using anyway in the future. But you'll be doing these 2 assignments. These 2 assignments aren't technically due till midnight on the 25th, which means you could probably finish it up. If you had a question with it, you could probably finish it up next time I see you as well. And usually on the first assignment, I'll give you like a day or so grace period on it, just because people are just getting into the class or just getting up to speed as well. But that's 2 weeks away. And then you'll have another one due on the 8th, which is more intense. It's not as small. The 2 small ones equal kind of like the one bigger one. And when I say it's more intense, it involves SQL. So it's just 1 assignment. And then you'll have 2 more assignments due on the 22nd. And then they're not too bad. And then you'll have 1 due, and then another one due, 2 more on the last day, and then you'll have a final on the last day. That's all the work that you'll have to do. But the work, that's 7 assignments, really. But that's all the work. I mean, there's no reading, there's nothing else. All the reading is in the assignments themselves, in the activities. So it's fairly well paced. You can work ahead if you wanted to. If you miss, like say for example, you missed week 3, you can always submit it into Canvas without actually physically being here, which is good. Or let's say you're a gung-ho, and I've actually had students do this already. You can actually just do the assignments on your own pace and submit them when you want as well. In the Canvas class, in the discussions section, we don't have online discussions because this is not an online class. But what I've done is I've put the course materials in here. So these are PowerPoint slides, and I'm going to be showing you which ones I'll be using today. Actually, we're going to go through, so I downloaded them already. We're going to do 3, 4, and 5 today. This is an 8-hour day, so by the time the day is over with, we'll have done 3 lectures and started on assignment number 1 probably, and have half of that done hopefully. And I'll show you how that works. So let's see, what have I missed? These are going to be some in-class database activities, and the way the grading works. Let me go back to that real quick. Oh, I put the dates in here too. So the dates are in the Canvas class. The grading. So the 7 assignments are worth 10 points each. Now, there's 2 optional in-class assignments we'll be doing, not today. We're going to be doing them further down the road. And you can actually work in groups for some of those. They will be worth 5 points each. They're extra credit. They can substitute in for a missing assignment. Let's say there's one you just don't want to do, and if they're worth 10 points, then you could do the 2 optional in-class activities, actually do it, complete it, and if you do both of them, it's 5 points and 5 points, and then you get 10 points that will substitute in for an assignment, so it would be equivalent to doing all 7 assignments. It's an in-class activity that you'll have to participate in and do, which is probably not a bad idea anyway. If you do all 7 assignments and you do the in-class activities, then you have 80 points instead of 70 points, which means you can really bomb the final exam and still get a B in this class. Actually, you probably could get 0 in the final exam and get 80 points because it's out of 100. The whole class is out of 100 points. as long as you do the work for the class, you're not a good test taker, you have test anxiety, I don't know, you just, maybe you're having problems remembering terms and stuff. You just don't take the exam. You're going to end it with an 80% in the class. 80 out of 100 is, well, it's technically a B minus. So you're probably not going to get 0 if you take it. Let's say you fail it and you get 15 out of 30. That's 95. You could probably get an A if you fail it. So it's not so bad. It's not meant, this class is not meant to fail people. So if you do it, I mean, if you go to the class, problem, and this is the typical problem everywhere, people will just blow it off, won't go to it, won't do it. And then if that's the case, you're probably not going to pass it. In fact, if you miss more than 2 class meetings, you're not going to get a grade in it. You're going to get an F in it automatically. So it's like black and white. If you're in the black section, or you're going to fail completely. You're in the white section, you're probably going to get an A or B. So, anyway, it's a grad class. You want to get a B or better in all your classes, by the way, because you want to maintain a 3.0 or above. So the average grade, I want to say, is going to be about a B. And that's if you don't really know the material that well. Maybe, I don't know, you're not so good. I don't know, maybe you miss a couple class meetings, you miss the in-class stuff. Because the class meetings have the in-class stuff. You can't do the in-class stuff if you're not here. Which means you can't get those 10 points extra credit. It's not going to work. But anyway, hopefully you understand the way this works. And it encourages participation, encourages attendance. So anyway, questions about the class. Oh yeah, if you go to the bottom, let me just click on one of these suckers. You see it's divided out by due date. So the 25th, here's your 1, 2, and then the 8th, here's your 1. And in here, if you click, it all goes to the same place. So if I clicked here, if I click down there, it's going to go to the assignment. If I open up this assignment as an example, it's going to open it up in a Word file. This is the one I was talking about. Maybe it's not really 60 pages. It's, oh, it's still loading. It's maybe it's like 30 pages maybe in length. So 27, 28. It's about 30 or so pages long. But we haven't gotten to the bottom. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. 32 pages? It's not so bad. It's just the first one's like this. It's because there's a lot of reading. It's in lieu of a textbook. So if you're looking, you're bored, you can start looking at this document, but don't freak out because you're going to freak out when you start looking at these diagrams because you're like, oh my god, I have to go through this stuff first. So, do we have questions about the class or about the assignments or about the requirements or expectations? Now is probably a good time. Otherwise, you can catch me at a break or something. You can always ask me questions. Yeah. Ah, good question. In my I have the faculty interface. I wonder if I can switch this thing over to student look. I don't think I can. From a faculty perspective, when I go in here, and I know the students do this, maybe you'll have to play around with it. If you go into the assignments over here, and you click on individual assignments like this one here, you get, this is for me to edit the assignment. However, you'll get something over here that says submit, and you press a button and you can upload a file. And you can upload multiple files, and you could submit it more than once if you wanted to. So my interface looks a little different because I have a teacher view of it, but I've seen the student view and it's over here. Okay, so when I go into speed grade, let me show you what it looks like when I grade it. Nobody's turned it in yet. I have 18 students enrolled. So I don't know who this person is. Is this person here? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to pick on people right now. This person's probably here now. Yu Chen? That's Brian. Wait a minute. No, is that Brian? I don't know. Long story short, all your files will show up here. I look at them and then I grade them. So you submit them via your interface. Of course, you can't grade them. Hopefully not. You'll be able to hopefully upload them. Anyway, I'm stuck in here. I can't get out. So, or maybe, I don't know how I get out of here. Anyway, we'll just leave it alone for right now. Any more questions before we continue? The videos, usually, that's an interesting. I'll put them on YouTube, and then I'm going to put them probably in here for files, or I might actually make a separate discussion for them. And what they'll be is just break by break, hour by hour, I don't like to make them more than an hour. And then I'll record them and I'll stick them in here, I'll label them like, this one's going to be called Introduction to the Class. And then the next one's going to be called Lecture 1, something like that, And then I'll put the dates on them. So let's say, for example, you get sick and you can't show up, or you have to leave early, or you came back late from lunch and you missed the first part of it. You'll be able to later on go, what did she say about that? And then I have students who go, but you said this. I'm like, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. And then I'll go back to the video and go, yes, you did. Here it is. And I'll go, okay, you're right. So if you miss something, you can definitely call me on my stuff and say, you know what, you told us it was extra credit. I'm like, okay, you're right. So I don't use it for that purpose, but any other questions on the introduction before I start in? Okay, so this is the weird part. I'm going to say that I'm going to end this video. Oh, is there a question? Perfect. The assignment's actually, and I'm going to go over it when we start the lecture, but it's really only 3 questions. Yeah. A lot of it's reading. There's 30 pages of reading, or 33 pages of reading and 1 page of assignment. The whole thing isn't the assignment. So most likely, if you're in it, you're kind of paying attention and stuff like that, you won't have to read any of that. Because we're going to there's 3 questions or 4 questions, I can't remember. We're going to do the first one in class, so you'll have 1 done, and you'll see how it's done. There's 4. You'll do the other 3 on your own, and you'll figure it out. Well, depending upon how the time goes, we might actually do 2 of the 4, if there's 4. We'll do half of it in class, or at least get you started, so you know what you're doing with it, and then you'll leave, and you can just finish the rest of it on your own. Yeah. And then when you come back, we'll go over it in class. Which means if it's not done, it's going to be harder for you to get the answers to it before you've turned it in. So it's better to get the answers after you've turned it in, because that way you'll get credit for it. So, but I'll go over this later in the afternoon, so you don't have to remember it right now. It's like a little overkill for this morning. Anybody else have any questions? Yeah. Yeah. It'll happen, and so if you have a friend, or because I've set 18 people in this class, I don't see 18 people sitting here. If I know some people are missing, if you know anybody who's in the class and they're gonna watch it, probably tonight or tomorrow, because I'm teaching tomorrow. It might not be till Monday that actually everything gets recorded, but it's within a couple of days. I try to do it throughout the day, depending upon the Wi-Fi access, but I upload it into YouTube. And it takes, it has to render, and then it takes a couple hours for me to get to it, get it uploaded, get it in there. It's definitely no later than 3 days. Yeah, so it's there because I want people to have access to it before the next class meeting. I know, there was another guy that used to do this, and he, after the class was over with, he, uploaded all of the videos, but, 2 weeks later. But how does it really help the student who's taking the class? I'm like, why are you recording this stuff then? So anyway, a lot of teachers these days do it in real time, or there's a program called Zoom that does real time syncing. Only problem is the software doesn't sync well with screen capture. So I like to do, instead of the synchronous, it's happening now, and you can zoom in and you can see what's going on. Problem with that is you're stuck in a little bubble, like a little window. This just takes everything on my computer, everything I open up, everything I do, and captures it from screen capture. But it's delayed. It's asynchronous. You have to watch it later on. You can't do it while it's going on live. So I don't know. I like the liveness of it, but then I also like the quality of the screen capture, essentially. Okay, on that note, I'm going to stop this recording, because this was the introduction, this was the overview of the course, so if anyone who missed it, who's not sitting right here right now, who missed the first day of class, shame on you. Thank you for watching the video, though, and that's the weird part I was talking about, weird stuff I have to say, because I'm talking to you out there on YouTube. I'm talking to you people who are not here right now. Thank you for at least knowing what you're doing in this class, and see you for the next video.